AI to do it for you?
Listen, I do have AI, but I haven't blown her up yet this morning. So hold on one second.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Hey, we're back, kids. How you doing?
Great. You?
Great. I mean, are you kidding? This is you
What's
couldn't
going
ask
on?
for a better week than we're having right now. This is a great week in America.
Well,
There is
we
so
don't
much.
get bored.
There is so
This is
much
for
going on.
this is for sure.
There is so much going on right now in
I
America
don't
that this
know.
is like friggin' awesome. Are you kidding? I'm loving it, man. This is awesome.
All
So,
going according to plan, huh, Stephen?
oh yeah, here at the Illuminati Society, I must tell you, we're very excited because democracy is coming to an end. Thank God. Hated that. We're getting rid of everybody. I like that. It's a beauty. It's the best. And what's his face? I bought his book because he talked The Great Transformation by Karl Polanyi or whatever his name is. I bought the book. We're going to discuss this a little bit today, but it's a phenomenal book. It's basically Trump's plan. So there you go. I'm enjoying it. So yeah,
So
I
we
like watching it.
reveal the Trump's plan today.
Yeah, why not? Hey, so the real question is, where do you want to begin? There is so much. We've got mommy and daddy are fighting, which is Elon and Donnie. They're fighting. And the best part about it is, and you know,
It's all connected.
well, here's the best part.
Isn't
But here's the funny part. Donnie is the president of the United States, last time I checked. And Elon wrote a $300 million check to make sure he became president.
That's
So
what
he had
they
a
say.
puppet, but he didn't do the puppet thing really well. And now Elon is supposedly still the richest man in the world. I question that. But if these guys are that powerful and that rich and that busy, why are they texting like high school girls fighting with each other on Twitter? They have that to me is the funniest thing. And I've been looking like even the newspapers have been covering it. And I'm just saying to myself, you have a country to run and you have some make believe companies to run over here. Uh, how do you have time to Twitter? Seriously, like I don't have time to Twitter, and I'm not running the United States. Well, technically, I run the
Yeah,
world, but
it's
I'm not
but
running the United States, and I don't have make believe companies that are about to get all their government contracts pulled. So, how do you do that? And the best part about the whole thing, which made my whole weekend, Steve Bannon says because
yeah.
Elon Musk became a U.S. citizen illegally because of his student visa, they may deport him. And I know
Yeah.
on Wednesday's show with Roll on Vaguely True, they don't want him back. So I
Right, I
don't
was
know
gonna
where he's
say, I can't
going.
wait to see what he says about it.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna go.
The
Listen, all I have
notes.
to do is I'm gonna start with that, and I'm not gonna say a word for an hour. And Roll just go. He'll just go on a
Yeah.
rant on
But
Vaguely True for about an hour. So don't
but
miss that. But
but
I'm just saying,
you see why we
it's great.
stopped. You see why we stopped talking about art in the show, because reality and politics
Right?
is
When
more
was the
art.
last
It's
time
more
we talked about
surrealism
art?
than any art that we can think of,
I know.
right? and
It's
and
just,
look, it's
Oh,
really crazy if you take it from many perspectives. Because, for example, we just saw the strongest politician in the world
yeah.
fighting with the strongest,
Putin. Oh,
I mean, rich guy, this is the richest guy in the world, which
they can fight
before
with me.
they were like brothers.
No,
There was
they were no.
like,
First of all, they were never like brothers. They were how do I put this? They were kind of like married couples in Texas. They're still going to be brothers and sisters when they're divorced. Um, but they're it's so wrong. Yeah, I've got a question by the way. If you're an orphan, can you eat at a family restaurant? Anyway, but I don't ever think they were like what you call it. I don't think they were ever like brothers. I think Elon served a purpose for Donnie, and now he's done. You know what I mean? Like he like, okay, bye bye, go bye bye. And then Donald the other day was like,
yeah, but something went wrong, right? Something.
well, sure, look at what went wrong is because probably Elon went, do this. Donnie's like, no. And that's it. I mean, I don't know like I can only read what the girls are typing to each other, but it's just, I'm like, seriously? If I'm China or Russia or here, I'll even do it. I'll even pick a little like nothing country. Like if I'm like the Maldives, and I'm going to look at this and go, "That's the superpower? Seriously, this?" I mean, like if I was a little country in the middle of nowhere and I had like 7 people, I'd be like, "Go invade the United States. You're fine. No one will even know." It's like it's pathetic. It truly is. It's like we're children. And now Trump is doing he's
It's pathetic.
sending the
Yeah.
National Guard in Los Angeles because
Mhm.
people are protesting what
Yeah.
ISIS do. And to an extent, I get it. To another extent, I understand what Gary Newsom's saying about, hey, like we usually try to talk this out. But if you didn't go in like the Gestapo, you probably wouldn't have the problems you're having. So once again, it's the way things are done, which is why I think we have the issues that we're having. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a finance guy. I mean, granted, I read the, but don't worry about that. So,
Well, Trump is trying to address with a
Anyone?
simple mind
Crickets?
and very simple solutions.
yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to a very complicated world. That's what it is. It's look about the riots.
Adam's breaking up this morning.
I was
You'll
gonna
have
say,
to just
okay,
be
so that's not
Vicki.
me, right? That's him.
Because I
Okay.
That's
don't know
him.
really what's going on. I know with the
Yeah, Adam's having problems.
It's because they realize that we're on air, and so they're trying to
They're sabotaging
signal.
Adam.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they're sabotaging Adam.
But
Adam, you may have to log and come back in. Vicki, tell us your thoughts while Adam's fixing his problem today. His gerbil
well,
is
it's
sick.
funny because I'm one of those people that had blocked Elon off of his own platform X because, somehow I was automatically following him, and I was like,
Right.
unfollow, block. And then, like you said, the girls started fighting, and everyone was like, unblock, because they wanted to see what everyone was saying. Like, what's the next thing they're gonna say?
I'm just dumbfounded by it. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
it's cute. It's cute if it wasn't who they are.
Right.
But
They
I
didn't
mean,
have nuclear codes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
but Bannon, I forgot if he was on Fox News or something this weekend. He's like, well, Elon got here illegally. And like, he was very blunt about that. And he's like, his student visa and went through the thing. And he
he
goes,
also
we
called
could
him
get this.
punk.
Yeah, he called him punk. So like, I'm like, all right, so I guess Elon's getting deported. So that's going to be interesting because in
Good luck.
theory, that would be,
He's none.
technically, but whoa, Mr. Trump has, he is judge, jury, and executioner. So technically he could,
Yeah.
apparently, because no one's
He
stopping him.
won't. He
I don't
won't.
know about that. Why wouldn't he? He wants to cancel his contracts with the United States government. That's $8 million a day.
No, he just warned him. But look, it's not easy to replace the contracts. From what
Yes,
I
it is.
know,
Yeah, it's really
he's
easy.
deep down inside into this. That means that he's deep down inside into this, and that was a deal. So it was a big fight in a way.
Deal.
Right. Lovers quarrel. And now they're going to kiss
I
and
mean,
make up.
it was
I don't think
stupid.
so. Yeah, but what did you think you were going to get? Like, I mean, like if I had $240 million, I didn't know what to do with, and that's just stupid in general. I'm not going to put it into, you know what I mean? I mean, I get it. The oligarchs want to run America and the world, where the corporations, which are, if you will, the Democrats, the oligarchs, and more the Republicans. I get that the oligarchs want to control everything and make people do nothing and take over everything. But at the end of the day, like I keep saying, 7 billion people are going to take a picnic one day, and the oligarchs got nowhere to go.
Yeah. Did you see that someone floated the theory that this is all part of the plan and
It's
that
a
they
fight.
really want to impeach him so they can have Vance in there, and that Vance is more of a puppet than Trump is, and that's where this is all headed. Did you guys see that?
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought it was, we talked about it on the cigar show Saturday, that Riza said he thinks that the Trump Musk fight is just theatrics, and that's their little, like, we're gonna have a fight, and just to make it fun. So he thinks they're all in on the joke, like Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler were back in the 80s about the wrestling type of thing. So I'm like, he thinks they're in on the joke, and I'm like, I don't know. So we'll see.
I don't know.
I just think it's interesting. I haven't heard the JD Vance. I don't know. JD Vance did call Trump a Nazi 4 years ago. Maybe if they want to get rid of
half
Trump,
his cabinet did, right? Like, and they're all like, "Oh, now I love you."
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, of course, because you're vice president. So if they impeach Trump,
Well,
let's
because
just
the
say that.
definition changes. So if
Mm.
you,
Yeah, well, yeah, it changes because he got a job. So, and he gets to fly around in a plane.
yeah, good
Hand me
job,
down. It's a
I
hand me
would
down.
say.
Yeah.
A hand me down
Right.
plane. It's not like a really
Secondhand, but
nice plane. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
secondhand plane, but it's still a plane. But I guess the point of it is that so if on your conspiracy theory, if they impeach
Theory, yeah.
Trump, which I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to, but let's say they do,
I don't
and
either.
JD becomes president. First of
Puppet and
all,
office. Mm.
right? First of all, is he just going to have the Oval Office full of couches? Second, is he
Ew.
going to? Ew. Second, if you don't sit anywhere in the Oval Office, then, and second,
Ew.
is he going to go back to the JD Vance that actually had a backbone, or is he
No.
going to be the JD Vance that has somebody's hand up his tuchus, and every
Yeah.
time they move it, he talks?
Yeah.
To
Because he'll
which
be
one?
so scared. If he sees what happened to Trump, he'll be scared shitless. So he'll do whatever they tell him to do. I think, but I don't think it's going to happen either. It's just
Yeah.
their conspiracy theory. But I don't think that. I think at that point, then these riots that they're having in LA is going to look like child's play compared to what the maggots are going to do if they impeach Trump. It's going to be like pitchforks and little white hoods and everything marching around, and you took our leader kind of thing. And
Yeah, but there's a town somewhere in Missouri. It begins with a K. Bill Maher did the story on Friday, and it talked about the whole town voted for Trump. But ICE came and they took away their favorite waitress.
Total town of
Right?
idiots.
All right, basically. And then they took away their favorite waitress. And the lady said, when we voted for it, we thought they were just going to take away criminals and gang members. We didn't know they were going to come after like moms. And
Yeah.
it's sort of like, well, it's kind of like the same thing if you like a nuclear explosion when they did Fat Man and Little Boy back in the day. It's sort of like, we're going to drop the bomb in Japan to end the war. You're not going to tell that explosion, listen, don't kill the moms and the kids, right? It kills whoever.
Right.
So it's the same type of thing here. It's like, what did you think? There's a farmer in Idaho that said they voted for Trump. And then ICE came and they took all their people off their farm because they were illegals. And they said, but they didn't think that was going to happen. And then Bernie Sanders yesterday was on CNN, and he said, which I thought was interesting, he goes, we talk about all this. He said, but no one's going after they want to reduce Medicare and Social Security, blah, 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 blah. He goes, but no one's going after the drug companies and the hospitals and the insurance companies that are overcharging the government. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing he said is,
pardon that guy who got 50 years and his wife got 35 years for Medicare fraud in Florida. You just pardon them, and
that's because
they're getting away.
The mom gave him $1 million at a donation in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
But the other thing which I thought was interesting, Bernie said, why are we punishing the people that work at, whether they're picking oranges or they work at the chicken plant or whatever it might be, because why aren't we going after the owners of the businesses in that? And I thought that was interesting. It's like we don't really go for the root of the problem. We go for the easiest thing. It's like, what's the easiest thing to make everybody happy? Okay, we're going to deport these people. We're going to do blah, blah, blah. But we're not going after, to Bernie Sanders' point, the insurance companies who are raking America over the coal. We're not going after the drug company. So we're not doing any of that, but we go after it like, we're going to go after you.
Right.
I just find that interesting.
What about the Idaho, like you said, the Idaho farmer who just complained that, you don't have anybody to work on my farm now, and I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
They should go after you too, because you hired someone illegally. Technically, you broke the law. They should go after your dumbass too, but they didn't. They went after, like you said, the easiest target.
Right.
I have no empathy for these people. Fucking idiots. Adam.
Adam's
like too harsh.
He'll be back. Poor Adam. He's having internet problems in Greece today. So, but yes, there he is. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. For the people on the podcast. He's having a problem today.
Maybe not.
Government. So there you go. Oh, we'll have his little circle. There he is. Hey, Adam, welcome back.
Hi, Adam.
Sorry. I don't know what's going on. I think since I changed the computer settings, I have different Wi-Fi. It brings a problem. But anyway,
I listen to you. With it. He's like, I'm not living there.
I'm not saying much because I don't know what's going on really. You
Right.
know, we
We
hear
won't
things and
either.
we see things. Like, for example, I was looking at those riots, yeah,
Yeah.
and for me, a Greek guy who has lived in Athens, I mean, this is nothing.
Right.
If you watch what has happened in Greece, etc., you know, because of the economical problems and all this stuff, and in general, Greece has got a tradition into, you know, street fights and everything. For us here, if they did something like this, it would be like junta, like everybody would be out. I mean, all the
Right.
people would be out suddenly. If anybody calls the army here to the streets, it's for us called junta. That's a
Right.
dictatorship. So nobody
Mhm.
will
Well,
do this. So there is a limit. There is a red point, red line, and we have here much more riots than you have in America. I tell you that. We are used to the riots.
yeah.
And protests and everything. People are going out for a lot of things, and I think this is power of the people, because we don't
Well,
have
that's and
any. We vote, okay,
Mhm.
but as you said, there are guys even from the Trump voters that
mhm,
they're not satisfied because we voted for this and this, but he's making
right.
a show of it. You know, it's totally obvious that he's
Yeah.
using, you know,
Mhm.
what he said to make a show. Now he's making a show. That's what I think. Okay, maybe I don't know much, but
No, I
what
agree
I
with you.
see.
I think he's flexing his muscle, whatever muscle that may be.
uh,
So, but the
Because if you look, if you,
go ahead.
he has made a lot of promises, and
Yeah.
nothing of these promises really happened. This is true.
oh, he
You
said
know,
they
Well,
did
he
he,
though.
has
they did.
he's
He said,
unsuccessful
Adam.
everywhere.
No, he told us that they're successful. He said
Yeah. He
grocery bills
yesterday.
are down. Yeah, he
Where,
Mhm.
went through all the things that he's done
where?
and told us that he
But
did them.
look, even the fight between Musk and if you look around, the fight started because of the bill. And I don't know
Hmm.
much about economics, etc. But from what I've read, you know, okay, I may be wrong. I don't know. I think Musk here has a point. Of course, he's looking at it from his own economical, gain and thinking, because he has contracts. But he looks also at and a lot of people agreed with that. But and
Yeah.
I've heard some things like people were voting for a bill that they don't really read. This is
Oh,
not
the big tax
democracy,
Of
you
bill.
know.
course.
Yeah. That's that
Yeah,
big
Yeah.
because we
tax
have
bill
to
that we're
say
doing.
everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And if those guys who vote for it, you know, they don't know what they're voting for, we're what we're talking about.
Of course they don't. Half those
It's
guys
not
are some
enough to
idiots
call
who
something
created
very
the game.
beautiful and
That's true. Well, it is according to Trump.
yeah, but it's, you know, it's
Right.
Yeah. Trump is
so
it's going to be interesting.
I don't know what's going
Well,
on, but yeah,
We don't either. You
yeah.
can't
it is
protest in
interesting. As
LA
you see,
because it's
we
a
are not bored.
riot.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're never
You
bored.
can storm the Capitol and kill a police officer and it's fine and we'll
Right.
pardon you. We can have a peaceful protest in LA where no one dies and we
Right.
call out the National Guard.
Well, we don't want
Sure.
peace. This is this is
Sure.
this civil war, if you will, that we'll have. So there won't be
Mm,
an election in 28 because of all this going on. But I was
mm,
watching the live feed yesterday from LA, and
mm.
nicely, and the feed the other day when they were like they literally arresting people that were just standing there with signs and like screaming
Yeah.
at them. Right? It's okay.
Yep.
But then the law enforcement was like pulling them and doing, and I'm like, but they're not hitting you, they're just
Right.
yelling at you. Now,
Right.
as far as I know, that's okay. But
Right.
apparently no. So I'm like the protesters, and I give them credit, are not stupid. They're not trying to incite violence, or they're just saying we're not happy, and they have signs that say, ICE equals this and blah blah. That's fine. And they're saying, don't do. Why are you doing blah 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 blah? But meanwhile, they're out like whatever, and I'm thinking, we're the ones, if you will, law enforcement side. They're the ones that are inciting violence.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're
Mm-hmm.
calling out the National Guard, are you calling
Mm-hmm.
out the National Guard on your people because you're hoping the National Guard can handle it better? Or are you calling it out on the protesters, hoping that they now, you know, come and you have a battle? So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make any sense why any of it's happening. I mean, realistically, the one lady that was on one of the talk shows yesterday was saying usually when something like this happens, you send in the federal negotiator first before you
Mhm.
call the National Guard or whoever. And they sit and they say, what's the problem? Okay. And we make all nice. She said, but Trump fired all those people. So there's no one to have that
Or
talk.
Elon fired all
Yeah,
those people.
well, whoever did. So, but I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, but what I saw now, I did see yesterday video also of protesters, which I didn't agree with. They were throwing rocks and like Molotov cocktails at the border patrol cars and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you can't do that. You don't do. Like, I don't mind if you want to
Mhm.
sit with a sign and scream and holler, blah, blah. But when you start getting then the violence, I'm against 100%. So I did see that video, and I was like, that's why are you doing that? That
Did you
doesn't.
see
I
the
understand
video of the reporter from Australia who got shot with the rubber bullet?
by the police.
Yeah.
I heard that they were picking on reporters that had
Yeah.
the press vests on.
She
I'm
had her
thinking,
back to them and she was
oh wow,
reporting,
yeah,
and the guy was behind her and he was in the line and he just aims right at her and hits her in the back of the
wow.
leg or back somewhere as
She
she's
okay?
reporting. So she wasn't even talking, like facing
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
and she had
She's
a
seen the video.
press. Okay, and she had a
Oh yeah,
press
and
vest
she had a
on, right?
camera guy and yeah, and
Yeah.
there were,
Okay.
she had a press on and everything. I was
So
like,
in my mind now, that officer should be brought up on
mhm.
charges and should also be sued.
Well,
There's
she's
no
an
reason.
Australian citizen, so hopefully, yeah, she like this escalates with,
But I'm just
she
saying that's
sues
to
them
me
or
that's
whatever.
crazy. Why would you be shooting you don't want you shoot the press because you don't want them to report. I get that, but really, what like all of a sudden you're like the press persons are terrible. No,
Yeah,
see, where this is to the Karl Polanyi book. This is tyranny and fascism, and Bernie Sanders said yesterday, which I thought was also easy. Trump is trying to bring fascism back. You're making it
yeah,
popular. Whether it's true or
yeah.
not, I don't know. But LA is not, like, and it's hard to say cooler heads prevail, but it seems like cooler heads need to prevail. Like, don't protest, don't just stay in, because then there's
Yeah,
no
there
reason to call it the National Guard.
that one guy they interviewed got with the lady asked him, "Oh, you got tear gas. How did that feel?" or something that like that.
Yeah,
Did you see that interview? And he
I did
said,
not.
it tastes like fascism." And people are like, "Oh, put that put that on a
Nice.
t-shirt. Got tear gas, tastes like fascism." True.
So, well, since we're having a whatchamacallit, since we're having a problem with Adam today with his link, we're going to bring in a special guest for Adam. So there will be four of us talking. We're going to bring Riza in because Riza's always full of
Uh-oh.
good political
Did you
comment.
just
I
kill
love to do that.
Adam?
No, it's just his internet is not good.
Oh,
So we'll have Riza come in from Habanos Saturday because he's always full of stuff. There we go. We have a whole bunch of people coming. There we go. There's Riza.
everybody
How you
here?
doing,
I
buddy?
don't know. I don't know what happens to Adam. Adam's internet. I think Adam's internet connection is linked to my internet connection.
Apparently,
Uh-oh.
but but
What's going
yes,
on in Europe?
we're having a little. So what's the take in Europe about all this? What's going on? What's your take?
I think we're all a little befuddled. The word is befuddled.
Okay,
Um, I don't really think anyone knows where their head and their ass is anymore.
I think that's a true statement.
I think the world is literally. I mean, I'm saying this generally. There's Adam.
Oh,
There's
hello.
Adam. Hello.
Hey.
I
Hey,
was too
by the way,
confused.
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry. By the
I'm in
way,
for it again.
hey, Stephen, I don't know what's going on today, but look, in my view, what I see, I was listening to you, everything, and I was watching myself also. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
That's okay.
if I freeze, it doesn't mean that I don't listen. Okay, so
No worry. I figured this way, if you
hello.
freeze or whatever, we have Riza on too. So between all of us, we can we'll make sure we get the round table in. So because
Stephen is tired.
Riza, what do you
It's
think?
about Trump specifically, or what's going on right now, Adam.
Whatever you
Yes.
want,
Look,
whatever you
global
feel.
politics. I never really took an interest in global politics since maybe the mid '90s when I was back at school or university, right? Yeah. But unfortunately, global politics, whether what Trump is doing, what Putin's doing, what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Europe, Kirsten, my God, everyone changes their mind every 2 seconds. Now, the one thing I do enjoy about Trump, I think Stephen knows this, yeah,
Mhm.
is I don't know if you could talk about humor on a serious level, right? But on a
Sure.
serious level, Trump is actually quite he's playing out to be quite a smart fellow. That's my perspective. Okay. Um, he's playing out to be a smarter fellow than Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson had this, and he used to get away with so much, right? Because people thought he was just charming and sort of very British and sort of like nice suit but crazy haircut, right? Okay, yeah. Trump is even smarter because I've got this into my head and it won't go away, right? Yeah, the world, you now very tangibly know, whether through social media, TV, but it's kind of obvious in your face that everyone just makes the rules up as they go along. People in power, right? Yeah. And I guess what Trump has decided a long time ago, you might say he's sold his soul to the devil, right? Yeah, but he's decided, right, if everyone's just going to make the rules up, so am I. And at least I'm going to be on the winning end every single time. And whether that, and this, we had this, little bit of a debate, Stephen, you and I, when we were on the Habanos show. Look how I plugged that with the cigar that I'm smoking right now, Monte
I see
Cristo, the
that. Yes,
Habanos
Monte
show.
Cristo.
Everyone watch it
Sure,
on a
gotta
Saturday
plug our
morning. Sorry,
shows.
that was it. That's enough. No more of that, right? No selling
Okay.
books or anything like that, right? Okay. Yeah. We were having this debate. It's like Godzilla-like creatures, Trump and Elon Musk, the giants. They're fighting. They're just having a few scraps. Everyone else below is the one who's getting hurt. And I think this is capitalism at its height. You remember Gordon? Was it Gordon Gecko? Was it Gordon Gecko?
Yeah, greed is good.
What, I mean, there's no other demonstrable way of showing it other than Trump. If you take the capitalist side, he's decided, right, I can be bought, you can buy. USA is open for business. If you spend money, I'm on your side. That's it. And riots and all this, it doesn't make any bloody difference. These are if you're frying eggs in a pan with oil, these riots are like comparable to one bubble that might emerge from that pan. I think that's how people see the world these days. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably am wrong. In fact, I'm confident that I'm wrong.
There we go. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it. It's
I can see Adam trying to size it up, right? He's trying to work out
yeah.
what the fuck is going on in this man's brain. Yeah, he's sitting there smiling.
No.
I'm wondering,
I think this is a
Is Reza
soft.
trying to be clever
This
or
is a
is Reza trying
soft.
to be stupid? Which
It's
one is he?
no. I think you're neither right, neither wrong. I mean, you are right.
Well, that's nice hedging.
It's also one
Yeah.
point.
Well,
One point of the whole equation. It's also that we are. The whole thing is a theater, but we
Right.
are
Yes.
the audience, right?
Yeah.
And it's obviously that we like the show or not because we see it, we talk about it, we analyze it, and so it's a show. We
That's
don't
a
say,
very
"Oh,
good
what the fuck show
analogy,
is this? Let's
Adam. Actually, that's
go
a really
see
good
something
analogy.
else." What the fuck
Yeah, go on,
am
go
I
on.
doing?
No, go on,
Yeah.
go on. That's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
I
The
think,
theatre.
but what you say is really true. It's really true that we have allowed as a society uh, greed, total greed, to be our master. That's it, and we have decided this. We have allowed it. It means that we are I don't know, we are kind of bored with our lives because as a species we are living the best, I mean, things that we have around ever humans had. I mean, 50 years ago, you cannot compare. We don't compare 100. Or have you seen guys those memes from AI that interviews with guys from the
yes, the
from
Middle
Britain from
Ages. Yeah.
150s?
Yep.
Yeah,
From
Middle
what?
Ages. Yeah, have you watched
Oh
Yeah.
those?
yes,
The Middle
yes,
Ages.
yes, yes,
It's
yes.
AIs. I
Yeah.
mean, some memes.
Yeah.
Those are,
Yeah.
are really clever
People
because
are
they
putting a
show kind
modern
of
day twist
reality.
on
What was really.
historical things. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I found that produce something like that. I like that because it has a point. It has some truth, and what we're living now here, and what the fruits of what we're it's a crisis. It's totally crisis. I mean, we have lost the purpose, the meaning of life. In all our shows that we're doing, isn't that what we were talking about, Stephen, at the
Pretty
beginning?
much.
I was telling
Yeah.
that this is a philosophical problem what we live. It's a philosophical problem. We have come to a point, especially in the West, where I don't know what's going on in the East, because I don't know what's going on in China or India. And we are talking two countries which are half population of the world. So I don't know what's going on there. But what I see in the West is that we have come to a crisis. It's obvious. We don't know what we
Yeah,
want.
it's a disintegration of a way of life that people got very comfortable with 30, 40 years ago, and it's been disintegrating ever since. Yeah. The perspective, I think you're saying it's a
Yeah.
philosophical problem. I think it is a philosophical problem, but it's also a historical problem because everything goes in cycles. People forget that all these things have happened before in different degrees, in
Right.
varying degrees. If you read a bit of history, you realize that, cultures go up, cultures come down. In fact, not too far ago, not too far in history, you remember, in fact, Adam mentioned it last time. It was about Y2K. The world was going to end. It was like there was going to be a mass
Right.
shutdown of
Mhm.
software systems and computing systems. Nothing really happened, but there's this inherent panic that sets in, right? And this panic is being fueled by the fact that there is just more people in the West. There's just physically more bodies, people interacting with each other, more communication, and more communication doesn't solve anything. It creates more of a panic, and that's why some people choose to go and live a softer life. Oh, I'm going to move abroad and go live on an island or whatever it is. Yeah, but we're having a bit of a short circuit crisis going on. It's like in our heads we're short circuiting. We're having difficulty dealing with our relatives, our neighbors, our friends. We're just having more and more difficulty coping with people,
Is that
generally
because it's
speaking. And
economically, or is it just because it's political, or it's just because of everything has just come to a culmination between the internet and the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the TikTok stuff, where it's like just the algorithms are like hate, 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 and it's just got everybody to the point where they all want to kill each other.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, but a
Mhm.
real analysis of anything always comes from a historical perspective. We will not be able to analyze the storm we're in
Right.
until we're sort of 10, 15, 20 years out of it. When you look back, you're able to see with greater depth and vision what happened and why it happened, right? Yeah, but I certainly think that social media generally, it may have some very positive elements to it, but generally speaking, it's causing it's basically my problem with social media. It's causing stupid people to think they're clever, and that is the general problem I have with global population, because this was not a problem 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Right.
20 or 30 years ago, if you didn't know the answer, you didn't know the answer, or you were too
Right.
stupid to look for it, or stupid to find it, or you just simply didn't know, and you would put your hands in the air. I don't know the answer. Now,
Right.
every person on the planet thinks that they have the answer for everything, and they're entitled to talk about, I don't know, they're entitled to talk about global physics and whether the Earth is flat or not. Whether they've never studied physics, they've never studied science, but they have an opinion on whether the Earth is flat or not. That's the kind
Right.
of world we live in. That's such a weird world, don't you
Right.
think?
Oh, see, and in Greece it's flat, so he just fell
No,
off.
but
He'll be
no, but
back.
no, no, no. I'm no, at a very, very serious level. Yeah,
Yeah.
people. You talk about average IQ. Average
Right.
IQ is sort of like 100. Am I right, Vicky? Average IQ would be.
I think
That's
that's
what they say.
high, but
100
yeah.
is the average. So if you have a
I'll
normal
find out.
distribution curve, then the normal distribution curve in mathematics, the middle or
Hmm.
the median is the average. Okay, right. So let's assume that half the world's population is below average and half
Okay.
the world's population is above average. That is where the average is defined, correct? Yeah.
Correct.
You
Hmm.
have 4 billion people that are below average on this planet, and they
Right.
have an opinion about everything.
That's
Hmm.
awesome.
So it's a problem of
Like,
democracy.
however arrogant that may sound on my part, I'm not classing myself at the top. I'm just making a very, very simple observation. Adam left us for a moment. Half the people on this planet are below average, yet they can profess an opinion on social media about anything and everything, and they do.
That
But
was
that's part
why
of the
the founding
problem.
fathers
It's
of
not even
this
half.
country
It's
were
even
trying to
more.
protect us from
It's
that
probably
in
even
a
more.
way.
One more time, Vicky. One more time.
Sorry, Vicky.
Well, the founding fathers were trying to protect us from the stupid people. That's why they, had the electoral college, because they were
Well,
afraid that once everyone got the right to vote, they were going to elect someone like Trump, and they didn't want that to happen. So they tried to put in these sort of like
yeah, but the
fail
world.
safes to keep that from.
No, but the
And it
world
just
was a
didn't work.
different place, and the reason I mentioned this social
Right.
media. Let's say let's go to a time just before social media. Let's say 2000s. Okay, let's say 2000. I mean, you had this that kind of dot-com era that's taking place
Right.
sort of 97, 98, all the way up to about 2002. Anyway, but let's say before Facebook, before all this kind of stuff, let's say 2000, the year 2000. Okay, the world was a significantly different place. You had I mean, you had classes of people. You had workers, you had people who were 9-to-5ers, you had groups of people with different relevance, sort of a different a hierarchy of opinions. Now, a total numbskull has an opinion because they're on YouTube or TikTok and they've
Right.
got 4 million views. 4 million views for being dumb, for
That's
Umberto
the problem
Eco,
with
example.
our show. We're just too smart.
Umberto Eco said this
I
about
was
the
say,
internet. Do you remember?
One more
Sorry.
time.
what, Anna?
Umberto Eco said that now. Umberto Eco said that now every average guy, who no one would listen, who everybody would laugh in a pub, has an opinion as of the same value as a Nobel Prize winner. He
Right.
said it a long
Yeah,
time ago, and this is
yeah,
true.
which is
But I think, Reza, you're right about the historical frame of the whole thing. But it's also, it's even more complicated. It's also psychological, because we try to analyze this kind of period, and this kind of period never existed in the ever before in the society, because you have to put into the whole equation technology stuff, and we never had such advanced technology. We can literally destroy ourselves in 5 minutes right now.
we can
I
do
mean, the
what? We
whole
can do what?
thing can blow.
Destroy
we,
ourselves
we
in
can
5 minutes.
destroy ourselves, the whole planet, in 5 minutes. And the more technology we have, the shorter the time can be. I don't know, but it's the truth. We are developing right now
Look,
technologies we don't understand anymore.
I'll ask you a question,
It's a
which
problem.
is no, I'll ask you a question, which I
It
think.
wasn't.
Sorry, Adam. I keep cutting you out. I think it might be a delay.
It's
No, no,
just
no. It's
internet.
not a question. It's a. Why am I freezing again?
No, no.
We have a delay with you. We have like a 3 to 5 second delay. So when we think you stop talking, Riza
The
is going to ask
fuck
you a
is going
question and
on?
then you start talking again. No worries.
So here's a question that I think is relevant to social media. It's relevant to personal intelligence. It's relevant to history. It's not too far away, but it's causing a panic. What's your opinion? So the answer to this question says a lot about where we are in the world today. Do you think we landed on the moon?
Yes.
Show of hands. I say
Do you
yes.
think we landed on the moon?
We all
Right.
say yes.
Right. I haven't raised my hand, and
Okay.
I haven't raised my hand not because we don't think we did, but I don't. I think that there is so much going on in the world that
Yeah.
anything could have happened now.
All
Now,
right.
someone like me is full of doubt
Right.
about. So I'm trying to give you an analysis here by my own stupidity. What I'm saying is, I think I'm an educated person. I think I can speak sort of relatively eloquently, yeah. And now I'm full of doubt because there is so much information, there is
Mm.
so much contrasting information, there is so much hearsay, there's so much disinformation that actually to be able to precisely say yes, 1,000,000%, would you bet your life on it? Would you bet your life on it that we landed on the moon? Would you
No.
bet your life on it?
No. No, that
There
I
you
wouldn't
go.
do.
There is
Yeah.
that element of doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, the
And do you
element
know
of
why I
doubt
have
has been.
here's why I have doubt with that. It's not the guys with the Stanley Kubrick film, and it's not look at the
Yeah,
shadow, and it's not look at this. Here's where I have my biggest doubt, where I'm like, I'm 99% sure we went to the moon, is when you go to
99%. There you go.
right.
That's it.
But here's why.
99%.
But here's why. Because when they ask NASA to say, can you show us the calculations and your telemetry and all this other stuff? We lost it. Can we see the original video? We lost it. This
There you go.
supposedly in the 60s is the
Let,
greatest thing we've ever done that this civilization knows, and you lost it. That's where I'm like, now you
let,
make me
let, let
question
me
it.
let me let me ask you a simpler question. I'll ask you a physicist's question. Yeah.
Sir.
When on a sunny day, on a clear sunny day, you walk out. What color is the sky?
Blue?
Depends
No,
on
it
where you
isn't.
live.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
What,
The answer
what
is
is
it
it?
isn't. You're deceiving. Your lying eyes are telling you that
Oh,
it's blue.
what
Right.
color is it?
Okay. And that is it. Right. And so if Adam wants to reduce this to not reduce or elevate this to philosophy, yeah, I'm
Right.
happy. It is philosophical.
But it is. It was what
Metaphysical.
I was telling about. It's if you zoom
Yeah.
out, because you're talking about realities with technology now and with AIs and stuff like that and VRs and stuff. You will see that we are living in a different realities. The reality is not It's not what we really think it is. There are
No, but
different points of realities,
no, but the
and this
only
is
point.
true. It's natural, and we
The
are
only point that
discovering
I was
it.
trying to make, Adam, the only point I was trying to make is if someone in my head, someone such as me, such as Stephen, such as yourself, such as Vicky, educated people, well-meaning people having a reasonable discourse, if we have elements of doubt in things that 20 years ago we would never have doubted,
Mm,
right? What does the simpleton, what does the average idiot with two brain cells,
right.
what problem does that chimpanzee face? Yeah. And I say that it sounds insultingly, yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that because of social media, that chimpanzee is elevated to professor of mathematics at Harvard University, right? How are people able to make decisions anymore? And that's why society is kind of short circuiting and sort of like it's either going to implode or explode, one way or the other, right? And who can guess when that's going to happen? It may be about to
Uh,
happen, maybe it's already
Thursday,
happening.
by the way. Thursday, a week from Thursday. We've
It's
already
always
planned.
Thursday in
You-
Stephen's
you-
world. Things happen on Thursday
that's
because
because
it's
it's
right
the
So
before
Thursday
so
HR
hypothesis.
Friday.
Yeah.
so back
Right.
to
And
Trump. Trump has worked this out a long time ago. And he said, right, I'm going to be on the winning end.
well, he'll be on his winning end. There was a
That's it.
story.
But that's it.
Right.
That's one man's journey, isn't it?
But
Right.
Right.
but
Right.
there's a winning or not winning is the same thing as we talked about realities. It's a narrative. He has
Yeah.
his own narrative. Whatever happens, he's in the winning side. So look, if a guy, whatever happens in his life, believes that he's a winner anyway because he needs it so much, because I don't see terms of life in winning or losing. Because I didn't ask to be here. I think about free will and stuff like this. And what's free will? I have kind of illusion of free will.
Yeah.
That's what we have
Mhm.
because I wasn't asked about anything in my life. Okay, I've worked some things in my life, but a lot of stuff is random. Less like at least looks random in my head because I cannot read this reality. Yeah,
Right.
and the whole thing looks like that.
Yeah.
For the people that
Well,
missed that on the podcast.
the pursuit is of life, whether it's
Yeah.
science or life, is to bring order from randomness. That's the whole point. To
Yeah,
make sense.
go
To make
against
sense.
entropy. Go against
To
entropy.
yeah. To make sense
That's
of
what life
things.
is.
Okay. And I think Trump is making sense of things in his way, and that's it. Yeah. Right. We
Yeah.
all survive. It's all about survival. But there you go.
Yeah, but that's kind of the whole thing. Since the beginning of time, man has always fought over nothing. And that's kind of
Well,
what we're
man
doing
has always
here.
fought over women.
Well, they sometimes, and sometimes they fought over land or horses or whatever. But I mean, at the
But
end of the
essentially
day,
to get women.
sure, because with the more horses, you get more women. And Genghis Khan, 9,000 wives. He's my idol. But my whole point is that what's Trump fighting over? What do you, not make America great again? America was great before he screwed it
Legacy.
up.
Legacy is
What
always
to be
about
the guy
legacy.
who
Don't forget
imploded the
Trump.
earth?
Trump is about what is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane? Trump is
That's the
Citizen
game.
Kane.
Yeah,
Here's his Rosebud, right? You remember
yeah,
Rosebud?
yeah, yeah.
Rosebud is a little sled. Trump seemingly wants to build the JFK bigger than a legacy bigger than JFK's legacy. You know, the
Yeah,
Kennedy
yeah,
legacy, the family
yeah.
legacy. One day you'll be seeing Baron Trump running for president or ruler of the world. Even you never know.
Yeah.
Yay, something to look forward to. But no, I'm just saying, is that so? That's what we're going for. He's going for a legacy. Wouldn't a legacy be better if you were the best president of the United States and you actually did things and you didn't impose martial law, insurrections, and whatnot? Because your legacy right now, well, like 100 years from now, depending on what happens with democracy, if people go back and look at it, they're going to be like, they're going to look at him like a Hitler. And that's not, I don't think the legacy you'd be striving for, would it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it would seem to me I'd be like, we lowered inflation, we did this, we did that. People wanted me to run for a third term, but I didn't because it's in the Constitution. I conceded the election in 2020 like I was supposed to. Not that it's all voter fraud, it's all this, it's all blah, blah. It's kind of like his legacy now is very tarnished. And now this love affair, mommy and daddy are breaking up. It's tarnishing it even more, but for both of them, which I find very interesting.
And do you think anyone's going to forget Trump in a hurry?
I don't think, do I think he's what in a hurry?
No one's going to forget Trump in a hurry. I mean, I think he's made his mark. You know, how
Yeah.
whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you're for it or not for it, he's made his mark. And I would imagine, not that I could get inside the head of Trump, but if I was to write a fictional book about the inside of the head of Donald Trump, a fictional book, right? My main my main assertion would be is that this man wants to be remembered at all costs. And
That's true.
his journey is very different to your journey, which is why you and I, like, we're not all going to the same
I don't know.
destination. We're not. Sorry, Vicky.
I think I'm gonna play the opposite, devil's advocate for you, Reza, because I think
The angel's advocate.
what I see is that with people like Musk and people like Trump and these sort of, gazillionaires, it's all about now. I don't see them thinking about the future or leaving a legacy or what. They don't understand history. They don't really care. It's all about my life. I want this now. And when I'm dead, I don't care. I don't care what I leave for my children. I don't care what the world is like after I fucked it all up. If I've made my money and I've done what I want to do and I'm this rich, powerful person, that's their end goal. I don't think they go, I want to be the greatest. I
But
want to be the next
in both
George
sides,
Washington.
in both sides, it's about ego, right?
Right.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Elevated ego.
Mm.
Well, we had a fan that just asked the question. They said, and you think the left is correct? And they put LOL. Unfortunately, I don't think either side is correct. I don't, and I hate this
Yeah.
left and right and the centrist stuff because the left and the right keep moving. How far left, how far right, and centrists keep moving as well because it depends where the left and right. So I don't agree with a lot of what either side says, and some I agree with what they say. So, each side has a good perspective on certain things. On another things, the Maltese Falcon there, of course. They don't have a good anything. That was the mascot for a little bit for the cigar thing when he did cigar noirs. But anyway, another story. But so I don't agree with left or right. I always go back to, we're all stuck on this little blue marble together, third rock from the sun, make a left at Pluto. We should just all get along and figure out how to do that and how to make humanity go forward for the benefit of everybody, not 5 people. Now, I'm granted I'm one of the 5, but it's okay. But the problem is I keep saying this, at some point, the 7 billion who aren't doing okay are going to take a picnic. And unless Elon's spaceships are leaving for Mars tomorrow, oligarchs are not going to be safe. And that's where the issue
and they're
becomes.
also not going to, if you think that the right is better, it's like these people that voted for Trump that are now no longer happy. We didn't think they were going to take away our favorite waitress. But then if you ask them, if you knew that he was going to take away your favorite waitress, would you still vote for him? 100%. They all say yes.
Right.
Their lives are not better, but they would rather shoot themselves in the foot over and over again than, oh my God, vote for somebody else. And I've voted for both sides too. I'm not like I haven't always voted left my whole life. But it's like they refuse. They could take your favorite waitress out and shoot her in front of you with a firing squad, and you go, yeah, we don't like that, but at least it's not Kamala. It's like,
right.
I can't. Sorry, like I can't talk to you. I can't. You're on the bottom half of the bell curve, and I can't argue with you because your brain doesn't work. Have at me.
And the oligarchs who voted for him. The oligarchs who voted for Trump. I'm not talking about the average person. I'm talking about the super wealthy that are like, ooh, Donnie. And I've talked to my acquaintances who did that, and they are all like, this isn't going how we thought it was going to go. And I'm thinking,
why?
And Rob Vegas says this very good on Vaguely True. He's like, Trump has always telegraphed what he's all about. Nothing he's doing, like even sending in the National Guard and threatening to send the Marines to Los Angeles, I'm not shocked. I'm like, okay, I got it. Like nothing. He's just Trump. I mean, and he's been in the public light for 40 or 50 years.
Not a
He
surprise.
has told you everything he's going to do. I think even Riza said this. It's not like I woke up and went, oh, this is a shocker. No, it's pretty much like
Do,
every Agatha Christie novel, or
do you remember the
every
movie
thing.
in the 80s? It was the late 80s. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Running Man. Do you remember Running
Yeah,
Man?
Running Man. This is like
Mhm.
Running Man.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember the host of Running Man, who
Richard
himself in
Dawson.
real life was, I can't remember his name, he's very
Richard
famous.
Dawson. Richard
There you
Dawson.
go.
Awesome.
But
Host
he
of
plays a
Yes.
Family Feud.
caricature. He plays a caricature of himself,
Yeah.
where it's a game show,
Yeah.
and the entertainment. It's like the gladiators, right?
Yeah.
The Roman gladiators. The
Mhm.
aim, you derive entertainment from people being punished and killed, right? Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That was considered at that time dystopian future.
Right.
We are in that place right now where we get off on absolutely everything and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
desensitization, oversensitization, and that's back to this social media. Trump is president because of social media, in my
Right.
personal opinion. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Mhm.
guy ran a game. He ran a game show. He
Mhm.
ran The
Yeah.
Apprentice, right? I was watching The Apprentice, so we're talking 2005, 2006 onwards, right?
Right.
Okay. In fact, I was once in New York, walking around Central Park, and I bumped into one of the game show, one of the contestants that was on that series at that time. It was that connection to
Right.
social media at that
Yeah.
time. But that's why Trump, and that's why in the 80s Ronald Reagan became president. He was known. He was he
Mhm.
was an ex-film star. He was known. You need celebrity in the USA. Powerful celebrity helps. Rich and powerful helps even more. That's what happens, and social media has enabled it. Social media, in my opinion, is the downfall of civilization. On balance, it has its benefits, but on balance, it's the downfall of civilization. The dumbing down of civilization. You can make a short out of that. You
Mm.
can quote me on that. Social media has fucked us all up. We think we can do anything. I can put a photo of
That's
myself
true.
into AI right now and make a crocodile smoke a cigar, and it takes 3 minutes. Correct?
Yeah,
Mhm.
because we've done that, and we have
Vicky
bears.
will resent that, because if I had said to Vicky, if Vicky was around 20 years ago, and I said, Vicky,
Right.
can you do a portrait of me as a crocodile smoking a cigar? She would have thought about it, and she would have analyzed, what crocodile and what color. Should we have it dark? And then she would paint for 3 days, and whether you want it in pastels and oil. It was a creative process, an
Correct.
intelligent,
Right.
creative process. Now, some fucking chimpanzee sitting in a rickshaw in, I don't know, wherever, okay, and forget that, some idiot in a forest in, I don't know, Midwest, in 2 minutes can do the thing that required energy, creativity, and effort, okay? So that dumbing
Mhm.
down, but thinking you're cleverer, is
Yeah.
the thing that is distorting civilization, in my opinion. The fact that we can have someone. Remember 2 or 3 weeks ago, Stephen, we were talking about the columns found underneath the
Yep. I
pyramids,
remember about a month ago. Yeah.
right? 30 years ago, scientists and archaeologists would have had an opinion, and it wouldn't have been written up and put in the press, and you and I would
Right.
have read it and gawped at it, right? Now everyone's got a fucking opinion on it. Right? People who
Right.
haven't studied any science or archaeology, etc., and it goes on.
Yeah,
All
because
the
it,
all
it
the
it's about the ego. It's about the ego. I see smaller Trumps, around the internet. It's
no,
like this. It's if you have more power, you are more famous, and you're after your dream to have a legacy. I think everything that has been said is true.
no, but I don't think it's about Trump. I think it's about civilization has enabled
Yeah,
people
but
like Trump.
civilization is
The dumbing
constituted
down
from
of
every
civilization
every
has
one of
enabled
us.
this. Has
Mhm.
enabled. It wasn't that long ago. It was only 45 years ago. Well, I mean, it's within living memory. You had
Yeah.
someone like Jimmy Carter, who gave up his peanut farm. Put it. What was it? He
Mhm.
put his peanut farm in trust for the
Yep.
duration of his presidency, so that there
Right.
wouldn't be any. The
Conflict.
ethics, the morality and the
Conflict of
ethics
interest.
were
Right.
that I shouldn't be benefiting directly, personally, from my
Right.
position in an office. Okay, we live in a very different world, but that world has been enabled by a humongously stupid population, global population, as an aggregate, who generally think they're much cleverer. There you go.
But they think they're much, much cleverer. I think part of that is because of the internet, which no, and
See?
definitely TikTok and Instagram, because that makes you dumber. And a lot of them also think they're clever because of AI now. It's like, I don't know squat, so I'm going to ask AI, but then AI makes up things. And we had talked about this on another show where I said, when we use AI, I'll be like, I need X, Y, Z. And then I
Yeah.
say, no hallucinations, don't make anything up and do all the research. And I need all the research then at the very end on where you got it from so I can fact check you. So when we do something with AI now, it's almost like I'm writing a dissertation with fact checking because I
I'm
don't
going to be
trust AI.
I'm going to be really, really interested um, on Adam's thinking about AI and philosophy, the
Ooh,
philosophy of AI, and if AI will be able to grapple. I'm sure it will be. I think we are. To be honest with you, we're finished in the next 10 years. That's my gut feeling. As global
That's
civilization, we're finished.
intuition.
Well, I'm looking at it, trying to look at it as a scientific perspective. If I believe in everything I've said, we're dumbing down. We think we're
mhm,
clever, which means we've left ourselves open to any attack by anyone. We just think we're clever people, you know.
right.
We think we're, as a global nation, we think we're clever. I think we're far more stupid, not a little bit more stupid, far more stupid. Right. Okay. As I think all the IQ points are falling, our reliance on technology is increasing. As I was talking about this creative process with Vicki, yeah, you now need no creativity, you now need no effort, you now need no skill to do the thing that Vicki would take a week, 2 weeks, a month to do in terms of
Well,
creative
I don't
process.
think it's the same thing, though. I don't think it's the same thing. I mean, one is a kind of a replica of an idea that it's spitted from the AI, and the other is what you have.
I agree with you, but
Uh,
but I'm talking about the consequence to the person using it. Then they're no
Look,
longer.
I could have used more AI in my. I wasn't a tech fear or something like that because I was using 3D for more than 20 years. When 3D was out, it was like AI at this point. But AI is more magical, and but you needed to learn some skills and stuff like that. I still do 3D because the process is also very important to me. It's an ongoing conversation. This in the arts in general, but the arts, is about rarity, so I'm not worried. I was worried at the beginning, but now I see the scale of things are coming out. I'm more worried on things that you were saying before about the ethics and what's going on, and if we are fucked in the next 10 years.
Well,
Sooner.
If you went to a doctor, 2020, I'll give you the UK experience. If you went to your local GP, general practitioner, you would go to a
Right.
doctor that would specialize generally. You would sit with him or her, you would have a chat for 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes. They would know your family history, your history generally, and they would look at you and take a temperature and try to work out, what you're feeling a pain in your back, lower back, that kind of thing, right? You know what they do now? And they've been doing this for like 10 years. They have a
ChatGPT.
computer open, the checklist, tick, 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 done, and the computer gives you the closest diagnosis that it
Yeah.
can. Right. And so what's lost in that? Anyone can input that. I can sit at home and input my
Yeah,
diagnosis into
Right.
and you unbelievably, the
I
National
do
Health
it
Service here
already.
in the UK,
we talked
that's what
about
it
that.
makes you
Yeah.
do now. It makes you log
Mhm.
on, input
Yeah.
all your symptoms,
Symptoms.
and then it decides whether you should go and see a doctor or not. Right.
Yeah. But
So
Yeah.
here's an interesting fact. I know, Vicky, you want to say something. So let me just get this. There's an
Oh, it's
article
okay.
in Bloom. There was an article in the Financial Times and also in Bloomberg this weekend, and it talked about AI. And AI is coming for jobs. And I know, like on Bill Maher's show, he's like, "Oh, I don't believe that." AI is coming for everything. It's talking about customer service reps. And I know that from Hero, right? Because Hero has a translation model where you can speak whatever language and it speaks all 7,000 languages. They've got the bots that do this. They've got for paralegal. They've got for doctors. We told the story on Lost Dollar Business Club. Michael's mom was really sick. They couldn't figure it out. So Michael and his girlfriend Noosh told AI what was wrong with mom. It says, run this test. And they told the doctor, and the doctor goes, that's usually a useless test. And they're like, we want you to run it. They ran the test and get what was wrong. Exactly what the AI said. So we're getting to a point now where going and getting an education isn't like when the four of us went for an education where we had to read books, research. We talk about, Encyclopedia Britannica on the wall. It's like I just type it into my iPad, I get an answer. So to Riz's point, not just social media is dumbing down the globe. AI is going to dumb down the globe as well, because people still, as we all know, I like this. I like books. I
Yeah,
like to read, right?
yeah.
Half the population doesn't know what one is and doesn't. So, Pete, that's right. There you go. So all of us like to read. Islands of the Stream. Yeah, I got that. Everybody likes to read. So there's going to be a part of the population that's still going to be intellectually smart. There's going to be another part that isn't, because it's like, why do I need to? I can use AI. And that's what's dumbing down the planet. And all the other BS that's going on, whether it's Trump or whether it's in Russia with the Ukraine and what G's wants, and they all is just a smokescreen for the dumbing down of the planet and the people. So 10 years, no, I think by the end of this decade, you're going to have really stupid and really smart. Now,
Yeah.
what that does for the outcome of the planet, I have no idea. And I just think by 2035, the AI overlords take over. I mean, because
Right, exactly.
what we're
It's
doing.
all
That's
part of
what
the plan.
that's all part of our plan here at the Illuminati Lizard People Club. But that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, there's a mean to an end, and I don't think the public understands the end. There you go. It's one of our members.
Do you have a prompt for everything, Riza? Do you
Yeah,
have like
he does.
what's
He
in
does.
that
He has a prop
library?
for everything. He's got the Maltese Falcon there. He's got Blizzard. He's got whatever you need. He's got.
It's like a prop house in there.
There you go. But I mean, unfortunately, that's where we are. Technology is a wonderful thing if technology makes you and progresses you as a society and a person forward. But when people use it and it dumbs them down, and it dumbs down society, and then to Riz's point, now we don't believe if we went to the moon, or now whatever it might be, that becomes bad. Then who really is the overlord? AI.
Right.
Yeah, but who is
Maybe
AI?
that's part of the plan.
Well, you guys think AI should be.
Look,
You guys sent me an
in
article.
my
AI
opinion,
psychologist.
what
Yes.
Reza was addressing about the social media is
Right.
kind of to look to the people that look how dumb you are. It's a democracy problem. That means that there are too many stupid people around, and we
Right.
shouldn't have democracy after all. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
thought you were
I
too.
there
agree.
is the point,
Yeah.
and that's why they are preparing you in a way, because they don't want also fights and riots, because that's the human's power. It's a fight.
You're gonna get if you already don't have it, you're gonna get a global supercomputer
Yeah.
that's going to run the world, and we're all going to say, well, this computer knows everything, we'll allow it to run the world.
Right.
Yeah, right. Whether you can see
Hitchhiker's
that
Guide to the
computer or
Galaxy.
not, I mean, a visual element to it. In 4 years, 5 years time, there'll be a declaration that we have developed. So what we've done, we've inputted everyone's intelligence. We've got Einstein's
We've got
intelligence in there, and
AGI. It's called AGI.
right,
It's
and it
in
will
general.
have a name. It'll have a name, and
Peter.
Adam.
people will Adam,
We have a name.
Actually, kind of perfect. Yeah.
and
Kind of
people will
perfect.
worship. Some people will worship it. Some people will take orders from it. Some people will resent it, but ultimately it will run the world and keep the world safe from harm.
Oh, thank God. I'm just waiting
That's
for now.
that's optimistic.
That's
I mean, that's the way the world is going. I mean, that is the way. If it's going in a linear direction, that's where it's going.
Then because there was this question, do you think the left is correct and lol stuff like that? And I tell you that left and right are just narratives, because
Irrelevant.
left
They're
for
just
me
irrelevant.
right. That's what I
has
said.
nothing to do what you think in America is left.
Right.
I told you
That's
this
why left
many
is irrelevant.
times.
Arbitrary.
We in Greece
We have the
believe that
left.
your left is actually our
left in
right.
the UK behaving like the right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It has no meaning. These things have
No,
no
it
meaning.
has
Yeah.
no meaning at all.
Redundant terms to describe modern problems.
Right. But that's my point. There is theoretically the left and the right. If they're in
You
your
divide
country,
and conquer.
I-
The whole point of
Yeah,
it is to
it's
sow
different.
division.
I
right?
really-
But that's why we're divided. And
Mhm.
but it's also Reza, it's also a psychological problem. I tell you, this is philosophical, psychological, social problem, and history is inside. It's very complicated, but I think that it's psychological from the point of view that people now cannot, because we are humans. After all, we might be developed humans with apes with smartphones and AIs, but we are apes. We have feelings. Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, there you go. Yeah.
Uh,
And
Yes,
well
he
and
does have a prop for everything.
the
Dr.
answer is
Zayas.
apes.
There
yes,
you go.
yeah,
Planet of the Apes.
that's what we are. It's a planet of apes, but we have strong technology, and we start not to understand our world, and we have also general problems like it's called in psychology. uh, Fluid
People on the
compensation.
podcast have no clue.
That means that. All right.
Go
What?
ahead.
Hello.
Don't stop.
I was like, did I freeze? What happened?
Yeah, we're waiting on you,
Okay,
Adam. We're just sitting here.
I think we have a problem of fluid compensation. That means that we cannot fulfill our real needs as humans,
Which is
and we fulfill bullshit all the time, either with capitalism, either with philosophy, either with opposing science. I mean, we lose a lot of time on bullshit. That's what we do. It's that obvious. And I'm saying I try not to, but I sometimes do too. But
No, but
you know,
that Adam, that's just it. You know, I'll pose this question about did we land on the moon or not. As
yeah,
far as I was concerned, that was done and dusted 50 years
right.
ago. Now it's back again. This is a new problem to talk about again and to psychoanalyze and physically analyze, and everyone has a perspective on it. Something that was done and dusted, that didn't require any more discussion, that required onward movement, is being reanalyzed and rediscussed. And this is a whether you want to call it mass distraction, but I think all our brain cells are colliding with each other with too much information, and that is what technology has done. Technology could have
yeah,
facilitated
too
this.
much information is no information. Is what I say that
Exactly.
they're saying about the AI art, and now I say that everybody can be an artist now, and when
Too much
everybody's an
information actually
artist,
is worse than
yeah,
no information. It's worse than no information.
Right.
If you have no
yeah,
information,
there is no world with no information. We always have information from our
It's information over.
immediate background
It's becoming information overload, and
environment.
because it's information overload,
Yeah,
what's happening is to Riz's point earlier, the stupid people are not processing it. They're just taking the latest greatest bit soundbite and go, "This is true," whatever it might be. The moon is made out of blue cheese. That's great. That's what it is. The people that have some intellect go, "Okay, that's really cool. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do some research on it." And so while everybody else has 9,000 opinions on 9,000 subjects, which are useless, then you get a handful of people that are like, "Oh, I did the research and this is what I found to be true. And this is what I'm comfortable with." And okay, I don't know all 9,000 things. I just know the one or two that I know. And I'm good with that. So that's kind of where I think society is having its issue right now. Everybody's trying to be, I know everything. And there's times where I don't know a clue and I'm like, I got to research it. No clue. So, and
yeah,
I
yeah. But
think people,
there is an impetus behind this. This
Yeah.
impetus you have to find. What is the source of the thing that these guys, all those stupid guys, etc., etc. And I tell you,
TikTok,
they're exposing it like kind of look, guys, how many stupid people are around, and they're
right?
voters. They have the same vote like you. There'll be also this kind of discussion, but this is a facet discussion. I tell you that normal. But look, on the other hand, I don't know which one of the ancient politicians or said that democracy is the best, system, but
Democracies,
it
democracies.
needs educated people. He said it from
Yeah.
the beginning. He already said it from the beginning. That in that not everybody was eligible to vote in Athens at that time. But it was a democratic process between people who really actually thought about. That's why they elevated the society at that time. We are doing the opposite thing. That every shit has an opinion. All right, so
And
we need,
no, but back
every
to Trump.
every meaning has a quality behind it. This
Right.
quality can be bad quality and or can be nice quality. So it's like that.
There you go. Vicky, what do you have to say?
About.
Thanks for
Everything
staying
we
awake
About
talk,
for
that.
the hour that
Yes,
we've
we
been
I
talk
here.
agree.
generally.
I mean, that's how they set, like I said before, that's how they set up this country. I mean, I didn't have a vote back then, obviously, as a female, but their fear was that all these ignorant people in the US were going to get to vote for leaders, and they didn't want that. So they sort of set up this grand experiment, which is now colossally failing because of other factors. But that was the philosophy behind democracy too, is that it needs checks and balances in order for it to function properly. And it's like I always said before, is I think it's this collectivist agreement, like with Carter, where you agree that I'm going to abide by these rules. These are, I'm gonna give away, I'm gonna put my farm in a trust so that I'm not benefiting from this office, blah, 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 blah. We're going to follow the rules. We're going to listen to what judges have to say. And when this person comes in and goes, I don't care what a judge has to say, I'm going to do what I want. I don't care what you have to say, I'm going to do what I want. And he's the guy in power. All of a sudden, this whole agreement falls apart and there's no more democracy because he's not buying into it. So now we're like, oh, but the judges, what judges? He says the judges are worth nothing. Oh, but
I'll tell you something. This, as an outsider to the US thing, I'll tell you something. It means that your system doesn't work anymore. That's what it means. It means that it had a relevance in a certain period of time. The club was different. The club rules were different, right? Yeah, those club rules are not applicable in modern day society. So if you resent the fact, if you resent Trump being there, if you're the type of person that resents Trump being there, then you also have to reflect on the fact that it's your rules that have set it up.
Put him there, basically.
Yeah, that's right. And he's able to do that. And he hasn't manipulated anything other than what he was able to get there. And someone who is on Trump's side, or even Trump, would think, well, I've done it the right way. I've got myself elected. Whether it took money, it took whatever it did, I got myself there.
It's going to be
a different set of rules.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens in 28, and for the next, say, 10 days. It'll be interesting to see what they do with mommy Elon Musk.
Folks,
mommy
I'm
and
over
daddy
and
are
out.
still
Carry
fighting.
on. Thank you. I'm over and out.
See you Saturday. Cheers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there as well. So that was nice. Had a different perspective
and
from
in
London
LA
today.
as well.
So there you go. And in LA, what happens there. So, well, this was a fun show. Basically, it's the demise of the world. And yay, by Thursday. There you go. And Vicki, the reason I keep saying by Thursday is there's a hypothesis called the Thursday hypothesis, which every day is really Thursday, and you just relive that day. So that's
so like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, basically. So every day is Thursday. So that's why I always say Thursday is when it's going to happen.
Every day is Thursday.
Because of the Thursday hypothesis. There you go. Thank you for the song.
And I'm happy all the way. Now, if I sing it to AI, he'll make a nice song from it. You know.
I know.
Now
actually, give it to David.
That's what David does all day long.
That's what David does. David's got like 50 AI songs, and they are all busting the charts, and they're like some of them are like number one now.
That David is ruling the world from his little corner in Greenland somewhere. That's why
I'm not even sure if David's real anymore.
He's just AI. We just tell everybody he's a person, and that's it. So David, that's when David shows up. You know, there's always a glitch.
There's a wooden raising hand in the question if David is real.
Is David real? Raise your hand. No one's raising their hand. There you go. So we just use David as our alter ego, and you just have him do all this stuff with generated by AI.
David is our imaginative friend that everybody has.
David, your imaginary friend. That's true. That's very true.
This is what keeps us together. Actually, this illusion that we have a friend called David.
That's right. Or David likes to say it's his nightmare.
Other people change names. Yeah, some others have a name Jesus, Allah, Muhammad.
Jesus, David, Jesus, whatever you want.
Yes.
Guys, as always, it has been a fun show. Vicki, it's always good to see you. Tomorrow, Vicki is going to be on Sermon from the German at 8 o'clock, which is 9 o'clock Eastern time, live with Brown Car Guy. Watch the channel, see the shows. It'd be nice.
Okay,
it's
a show. All right.
It's a show. Yeah, Sermon from the German with Brown Car Guy will be on. Brown Car Guy is a YouTuber. He talks about cars, but we usually talk about politics and UFOs and a whole bunch of stuff. Everyone's always invited. Riza will pop in and out of that show every now and then. So that's a good show. And then we'll also have tomorrow Greg Shapiro, world famous comic, who comes and does his once a month Climate Good News, or we call it Funny Haha, because that's what Climate Good News is. So that'll be tomorrow live as well, and they'll all be rebroadcasted. So for all the fans that want to do that, subscribe and like, and you get notified that we're when we're on. And there you go. Is there anything else we want to say before we say goodbye to the fans till next week? If there is a next week, because Thursday's coming.
Stay safe. Stay safe and sound.
Stay safe and sound. Vicky, what do you want to say?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
This is why
I vote yes.
This is why Vicky's got her Vicky
I'm for
in your
it.
life channel that just goes boom, boom,
Become
boom,
a
boom,
yes
boom.
in your life.
Yeah, become a yes in your life.
Yes
All
is
right,
always the right
it's been
answer.
good to see everybody. Stay
Yes.
safe. Be as Riza says, kidding around. Try to be nice to each other. We'll see everybody next Monday. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you don't want to see our pretty faces, you can catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Look for Two Old Farts Making Noises on the podcast. It's wherever you get them. And here on YouTube, it's 2OF Entertainment. And there you go. I think I've covered it all. Everybody, have a nice day. Cheers.